Welcome to Lesson 4. In Lesson 4, you will learn how to use and guide your patients with the tool in your daily practice. Let's first have a look at how the iFightDepression tool fits in with usual care. As you already know, iFightDepression is intended as a companion to existing treatment. It is a self-management tool and does not constitute a standalone online psychotherapy. Please continue to treat your patients as before, but with iFightDepression as an addition. The program was designed for patients with mild forms of depression. This includes mild to moderate depression as well as subclinical depression. In general, you can offer the tool to all patients whom you think may benefit. However, patients should be over the age of 15, have access to the telephone, computer, and internet, and have a valid email address. Patients must also agree to the use of the tool and the accompanying evaluation. There are also some patients for whom the tool is not suitable. These include patients younger than 15 years, patients with severe depression, bipolar disorder, or other serious psychiatric disorders such as psychosis. Also, patients with acute suicidal thoughts or suicidal behavior, substance abuse disorders, a cognitive disorder or a personality disorder should not use the tool. In the case of severe depression or suicidal behavior, appropriate actions should be taken. Ultimately, you decide whether the patient should use the tool. The decision is based on your clinical judgment and observations and the current condition of the patient. It may well be possible to include patients with comorbidities as long as you think this is appropriate. Here are some suggestions for how you can explore suicidal behavior with a patient. Start by exploring the presence or absence of suicidal thoughts and behavior. Don't hesitate to address this topic directly by asking questions such as, in your present difficult situation, do you have thoughts about taking your life? Try to move from a general perspective to more concrete questions. For example, if they have recently thought about suicide, have they started to prepare for it? If so, which method would they use? The more concrete the thoughts and preparations are, and the more you have the impression that the person is experiencing a high level of inner tension and is eager to act, the greater risk of suicidal behavior. If there is indeed acute risk, refer the patient to a psychiatrist or emergency department. In order to reduce the risk of overlooking depressive symptoms, the WHO-5 screening instrument can be used in addition to your clinical judgment. The form could be given to all patients in the waiting room. If you wish to implement the screening form routinely in your practice, you can print copies from the download section of the iFightDepression.com website. Here are some facts about the WHO-5 screening instrument. It was developed by the World Health Organization, or WHO. It is a validated measure with the best detection rates for depression screening in primary care, according to a study from Henkel and colleagues, which was published in 2003 in the British Medical Journal. The screening instrument is short, positively termed, and well accepted by patients. Finally, it is easy to use in your daily practice. Patients complete the WHO-5 questionnaire by checking the answers most appropriate for each item. You can then calculate a score by summing up the individual values. If the score is less than or equal to 13, depression symptoms should be further explored according to ICD-10 criteria. This was introduced in the first lesson in the figure with white and blue circles, which represent the 3 core symptoms and secondary symptoms. Consulting ICD-10 criteria is necessary because use of the WHO-5 as described above often results in false positive detections. Another screening instrument, which you could use in your daily practice, is the Patient Health Questionnaire 9, or PHQ-9 for short. The PHQ-9 is a 9-item scale that assesses depression symptoms and functional impairment. Scoring of the scale results in a severity score. This questionnaire is the same as the patients use for their weekly mood ratings in the tool. This is what the PHQ-9 looks like. Both the WHO-5 and the PHQ-9 can be downloaded from the download section of the iFightDepression.com website. A score between 5 and 14 indicates mild to moderate depression. iFightDepression is suitable for this group of persons. This screening instrument has several benefits, including established validity in primary care. It can also serve as an instrument for patients to monitor their own mood over the course of the intervention. It is sensitive to changes over time. It can be self-rated, and it is suitable for adolescents ages 13 and over, as well as for adults. I would like to point out item 9 of the PHQ-9 to you. The item reads, "Thoughts that you would be better off dead or of hurting yourself in some way." A positive response to this question may indicate that the patient is at increased risk of suicide attempt or death. If this is the case, please explore suicidal behavior further with your patient as introduced earlier. For more information about suicidal behavior, see the download section for guides in the tool. When a patient endorses item 9 with the answer options more than half the days or nearly every day in the tool, a safety statement will be displayed on the website, which encourages them to contact either you or another crisis contact. The same message will appear if they have a score higher than 15 3 times in a row when completing the mood rating. If you have a patient you think will benefit from iFightDepression, you can offer the tool to him or her as follows. First, briefly introduce the tool with its 6 core workshops and the topics we have covered in Lesson 2. Second, give the patient an iFightDepression tool leaflet if you have them on hand. Please be sure to tell your patient that the tool will not replace regular treatment, such as pharmacotherapy or psychotherapy, and that you will be the guide and assist them with questions as they use the program. You can invite your patients to register to start using the tool. You will have to invite the patient to use the tool via your own iFightDepression account. To do so, you can log in with your email address or username and your password. If you are logged in as a guide, you have the following 2 menu options in the My Profile section that patients don't have: My Patients, New Patient. Please use the New Patient button to invite a patient to use the iFightDepression tool. The registration process is as follows. The patient will receive an email invitation to register for the tool. By following the link from this email message, the patient can then visit the registration page. The patient then completes the registration form by entering a username and his or her sex and age. The patient agrees to the terms of use and consents the tool evaluation in a stepwise manner. When this is done, the patient will be notified about the success of the registration and that an email with the login data was sent. This email contains information about the tool evaluation and a link to log in to the tool. When logging in for the first time, the patient has to consent to the tool use and its accompanying evaluation. The pre-evaluation questionnaire and then the baseline mood rating is displayed. A form will then appear that looks like this. Please enter the patient's email address. Encourage patients to use an email address which they frequently use, as they will receive reminders to that address. It should not be one that they never check. Also, it is up to you to choose the appropriate tool version, i.e., adult or adolescent, for your patient, including the language. The country field is not obligatory, but is of interest for research purposes. When you click Register, your patient will receive a registration email which takes them through the registration process just described. To register, the patient must select a username, enter his or her gender and age, and accept the technical terms of use. The patient will then receive a further email with login details. He or she can then log in. The patient can now log into their account. When logging in for the first time, the patient is led through a consent procedure which explains the tool and the accompanying evaluation. We take data protection and patient information seriously. We want to assure that patients know what to expect when they use the tool and that usage of the tool is evaluated. These aspects are mentioned in the consent form, and we would like patients to agree to all of them. It is for this reason that the consent process was programmed stepwise. If the patient does not agree, we inform him or her that usage of the tool is unfortunately not possible. In the second step, patients are presented with detailed information about the tool usage and its accompanying evaluation. Although this is a lot of information, we ask patients to read through this carefully. Only after having gone through this document can they proceed to the next step of the consent procedure. These further steps are much shorter. The patient can stop using iFightDepression at any time without any consequences. He or she can also ask for deletion or destruction of their data. To do so, they need to contact the iFightDepression team. Here they agree to receive emails from the iFightDepression team. Here, the patients give consent. Without doing so, they cannot use the tool. The next step is a questionnaire in which we ask patients about their mental health history and expectations of the iFightDepression program. This is useful for us in gathering information to help us optimize the tool in the future. We are also interested in this information from a scientific point of view, as we hope to contribute further insights into the field of e-mental health and the self-management programs such as iFightDepression. After completing Workshop 6, after 8 weeks of usage, or if patients have not reached Workshop 6 by week 6, patients will receive an email asking them to fill out a second questionnaire. The form asks about the experiences and work done with the tool for the purposes previously described. The next and final step before using the tool is the completion of the first mood rating. The patient must complete the mood score questionnaire in order to have access to the tool content. We also ask the patients to complete the mood rating once a week so that they can monitor their own progress. If they have not filled in the questionnaire for 7 days, the mood rating must be completed before other tool contents are accessible again. In the meantime, they can choose to fill in the mood score as often as they like. We recommend filling it in on a regular basis, which can also be one element of your encouragement and guidance with patients. Here you can see the development of mood scores over time. Completed questionnaires are registered and will appear in this graph. This way, the patient, and possibly you, if the data are shared, can monitor their moods over time. Should a patient complete the mood rating several times a day, only the last entry will be displayed. Please note that when patients have 3 consecutive scores indicating severe depression symptoms, or a score of 15 or higher, and/or a positive response to item 9 indicating suicidal or self-harm tendencies, an automatic safety message will appear on the patient's screen advising patients to contact you or an emergency service. The safety message will look like this at the top of the screen. It will be displayed throughout usage of the tool until a more positive mood score is obtained, including after logging out and logging back in. The consent process was designed in accordance with ethical requirements and data protection regulations which we follow. Because we hope to constantly improve the tool, we evaluate its use. At the same time, we are interested in gathering insights about its use from the evaluation. As an institution dedicated to depression care and research, we hope that you understand that this is part of our work and is important to us. Ethical approval for the evaluation was sought and granted in April of 2016. The following data will be collected: demographic data when registering, including age and gender, some information about the patient's mental health history, and a questionnaire about expectations which patients complete when logging in for the first time, the mood rating score, for which completion is obligatory at baseline, at the time of the first login, and once per week, and a satisfaction questionnaire that asks about, among other things, reasons for dropout should patients have stopped using the tool. In addition, we track data from users such as which tool content they have accessed and which worksheets they have completed. To optimize tool use and for evaluation purposes, data must be stored. We would therefore like to say a few words about data protection, as this is a sensitive issue. All the data we access is stored and processed on a secure server in a pseudo-anonymized way, which means that it is stored via a system-generated ID number that is assigned to each patient. Data storage is carried out in accordance with current data protection regulations. The following means and procedures were put in place to assure that the information remains secure at all times. The communication between the patient's computer and our server is encrypted via a secure HTTPS protocol. The server, including the database, is protected and password encrypted. Furthermore, the data is protected against any access by third parties. Only you, as a guiding health professional, will be able to view your patient's tool entries when they have voluntarily released their data to you. For further information concerning privacy and data security, please read the privacy statement and patient information that are available in the tool. Now that you've learned how to invite a new patient to use the tool, learned more about the tool evaluation and data protection, let's talk about guidance of tool usage. The iFightDepression tool is conceptualized as a guided program. As was said earlier, instruments guided by a health professional are more effective in reducing depression symptoms than non-guided tools. At the same time, guidance increases the patient's safety because access to the tool is only granted to them by trained health professionals like you. If depressive symptoms worsen during their use of the tool, they can contact you or an emergency contact. Remember that the tool is not thought to be a standalone intervention, but is rather a complement to routine care. However, conclusive evidence regarding the optimal intensity, the content, the type of guidance, nor the type of professional providing the guidance are lacking. Let's have a look at the purpose of your guidance. Your role is to keep participants motivated to use the tool. In this context, it should be emphasized that patients might sometimes feel worse when engaging in self-management activities, which make them think about themselves intensely. This might especially be the case in the 2 to 4 weeks after initiating the activities based on cognitive behavioral therapy. To motivate patients, please reassure them that this is a common reaction and take some time to address their concerns. In addition to motivating patients, you can also assist them in troubleshooting. Finally, you can also offer useful reminders such as the benefits of repeating workshops. It might be especially helpful to recommend revisiting a particular workshop when issues arise. Here are some recommendations for you in guiding your patients to use the tool. Before inviting a patient, which is best in the first appointment, the tool should be introduced and any immediate questions discussed. We recommend that you see patients every 2 weeks. The appointments do not have to be especially for iFightDepression. Rather, working with the tool can be mentioned as part of a routine follow-up appointment. If your time and resources allow, supportive contacts via SMS, email, or phone in between the personal appointments could complete this guidance. This may be a task that can be handled by nurses. The total amount of personal contact per patient should be approximately 45 minutes over the course of their tool use. The usage of the tool is estimated to last 6 to 10 weeks, depending on your patient's pace. You should plan on later meetings for motivation. As I said before, encourage your patients to fill in the worksheets and to share these with you. There are 2 ways the patients can do this. One is online with the data sharing option. We will talk about this on the next slide. And the second option is via offline printouts. For the offline way, there are 2 choices. First, the patient can complete the worksheet online and then print it by clicking Print Worksheet. Second, the patient can print out the worksheets via the green box and complete them with a pen offline. Patients have the option to release their data to you as their guiding health professional. If patients say yes, you can see their mood ratings and worksheet entries. However, you are not obliged to view all of your patients' entries. Please point out to your patients that they should seek personal contact if they feel worse while working with the tool, regardless of whether they said yes or no to data release. You can tell if a patient has released their data by looking under My Patients. If they said yes, there will be a green dot in front of their name. If they said no, there will be a gray dot next to the patient's name. In your iFightDepression account, there are several functions to assist you in guiding your patients. One is the patient overview in the My Profile section. By clicking on My Patients, a list of all the patients you invited to use the tool will be displayed. This list contains the patient's email address and username, if a username was chosen. There is the option for you to take notes and to see if patients have released their data to share it with you. If you have many patients, you can use the sorting function. You can sort your patients by email address, username, date added, or data release, yes versus no. You can decide if you want the list ascending or descending. When patients have agreed to share their data, you will have access to their worksheet list and mood ratings. If they have decided not to share their data, nothing will be displayed here. Regardless of whether the patient has shared their data, you have the option of taking individual notes for patients. This is meant to help you in guiding the patient, for example, by noting agreements that you made with the patient or thoughts or questions you had about the patient. You can edit your notes on the patient detail page. This will open if you click on the little pencil at the right side of the line containing the patient's entry. The text that you saved will then be visible in the patient overview. This slide summarizes the implementation process steps. As you have learned, there are 3 steps for using the tool. Once you have identified suitable patients, introduce them to the tool and schedule a follow-up appointment. Invite the patient and register him or her via New Patient in your My Profile section. The patient will then complete the registration process and initiate working with the tool. Then it is your turn to guide patients in using the tool during follow-up appointments. Please note that you will not receive an automated notification should a patient you invited complete registration and consent to tool use. Please ask patients directly if they have done these things during the next appointment. In the guide version of the tool, you can access the download section, which contains all important materials and documents to help you use the tool in your daily practice. Here are some of the contents of this section. Guides manual to the iFightDepression tool, slide set, certificate, information leaflet about the tool for patients, fact sheet on guidance, presenting and guiding the tool, successful self-management, how, terms of use and data privacy, information about depression, questionnaires, WHO-5 and PHQ-9, information about exploring suicidal thoughts and behavior, and literature. Before the end of this lesson, We would like to thank the following people who have contributed to the development of the iFightDepression tool. And of course, we would also like to thank you for your attention. We hope you enjoyed participating in this e-learning course.